What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. If you want to get caught up on some of these books, go down below in the description. I'll have links where you can grab them. It's a great way to help support the channel. But with that said, let's go over to Marvel first. We have Moonstar issue number 1. So we have Ashley Allen on this one. Not too familiar with the writer, not familiar with the character either, but I thought, hey, it's a new number 1. I'm going to jump in on this. The character looks interesting, so I want to see what's going on. And it is a decent place to start if you don't have any context on the character. I will say, though, from a new reader perspective, there are a lot of footnotes of other things I should have read to really kind of hone me in and clue me in rather onto like what has been going on with this character in the past and other things I need to be aware of to just orient me to the whole surroundings to begin with. So if you don't know that people's memory about Asgard got wiped, if you don't remember certain battles that took place or her legacy or her, backstory in general, it's going to be a footnote, an editorial note throughout the issue. And you're going to see about 2 or 3 of these things. So not really new reader friendly from that point of view. With that said, they do spend a little bit of time trying to get you acquainted with the character, what she's been through recently, like her new motivation, what her objectives are now. We touch base with her parents, which are pretty one-dimensional characters. They're kind of like yes people in her life. They're so proud of her and everything, but like they don't understand her past experiences, and they're just kind of there to be conversational pieces. A lot of exposition inside this book. There's a lot of just what happened to her, what her internal monologue is, and what is she feeling about the current situation. That's a lot of this book. There are some people that jump back into her life. She's got a complicated relationship with them. There's a lot of tension between them from past battles that they had against each other. There's, of course, a missing artifact that is immensely powerful, and so if it falls into the wrong hands, that's kind of the end of the world. So we are sent on this recovery mission for the artifact, before things get too out of hand. Some sacrifice plays were made, and some past, rivalries were mended a little bit here. There is a decent cliffhanger towards the end. Is it enough for me to want to get an issue number 2? Not entirely sure. Depends on the week it comes out, what else I got going on that week, but I'm glad I picked it up and just gave it a shot. All right, next up is Star Wars Shadow of Maul issue number 1. Benjamin Percy on this one. Great variant covers for the series, great interior artwork too, great character design and everything. So I think they nailed it from an aesthetic point of view. So what's the story about? It does start off as more of a detective type of a comic. We are teamed up with this one detective. He's going around right now trying to get some more information about this underground culture. Of course, he's got his robot companion, and they're going from like bar to bar, challenging the status quo, doing what they do best, trying to get answers for their case. Of course, that means he has to bend or break all the rules. He's that tough, grizzled guy on the force that is just doing whatever he can do to solve his case. We don't actually cross paths with Maul until the very end of the issue, and we still don't know what his true motivations are, what his objectives are, or anything like that. So it's more of a noir type of a story set in the Star Wars universe, and we're going to have Maul crossing paths in subsequent issues. Should be pretty cool. I might stick around for this one. All right, let's go over to DC next. We have Batman Proper issue number 7. Matt Fraction on this one. Of course, we have Jorge Jimenez on the art. This is our Hannibal Lecter Silence of the Lambs Joker issue. The setup around Joker right now is really shocking and revealing inside the issue. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, wow, I cannot believe they went like that far to not only contain him, but like what else they're doing with him, what kind of experiments or whatever else they are putting on the Joker right now. It's really shocking when you see it. Now, Batman, he's seen it all, right? He's seen the Joker in many different types of situations. He's not taking anything for granted right here. He knows how capable and manipulative the Joker can be, even in this kind of a situation. So he doesn't really take his foot off the pedal during their interaction throughout the issue. And it's a good thing he doesn't, because Joker is still a master of manipulation, even in the setting that he's in. He's manipulating the doctors. He's manipulating the janitorial staff. Bending them to his will in a way. And so it is kind of cool to see his influence reach out even in his current state. So really, it's a big conversational piece between Batman and Joker. So it's really cool to be a fly on the wall through that whole scenario. Again, a lot of the technology around him, the security systems in place, the touch sensitivity, the fact that they can turn the room into a vacuum in a second. There's electrified forces everywhere. So it's really cool how they have him locked up, yet he's still influencing people without a problem. What's really interesting about Batman Proper right now is we have about 5 different antagonists that have been introduced in this story so far, and we have only 7 issues out. So I'm wondering like what our focus is going to be going forward, or is there going to be one? Because all these threats can coexist at the same time. You just run into an issue of priority, right? Like What are we going to tackle first? Maury on the colors was a great choice, man. Jorge Jimenez is a great artist, but I think that Maury's coloring really accentuates things. The splash of color in different spots. That's just a great pair. I'm glad they were able to put them together, team up with Fraction, put them on the main Batman run. It's high profile characters with some of the best creative teams out there. That's how you do it. All right, let's go over to DC KO issue number 5 from Scott Snyder. We have Javier doing the art. This thing is cosmic to the extreme. Now we know we whittled down everybody basically to a one-on-one fight between Darkseid and Lex Luthor. There are some bait and switch things happening right now with Lex and Superman. Superman does get imbued with additional power from a mysterious source. I'll let you figure it out. But really the sacrifice play helps save the day for Superman, giving him enough power to, gather some more resources, literally like become the Big Bang, which is really interesting, and really be able to take on Darkseid head to head. Now the imagery around all of that was awesome. I love to see all of that. Great use of composition, great creativity, just to show you like the span of time and like the contemplative moments that Superman has to go through when he's basically crafting a new world. Now in a very Superman style ending, Superman does find a way to, give everybody a win in this situation. He's not being selfish and making something that he wants to make. He wants to figure out a way that's going to work for everybody. Now Darkseid is not down and out at the end of this issue. In fact, he tries to hint at a couple different really crazy ideas towards the end of this book, leading to a future crises that might be really cool to see. So you definitely saw an escalation of just insanity throughout this entire series. This one takes it as far as it could possibly take it, I think. I'm really anxious to see what the next level characters are going to be bringing. I'm really excited for Batwoman and Terminator and everything else. They're going to be really cool. I cannot wait for that, and more Absolute books. It doesn't put an end cap on the Absolute universe at all. It maintains it, which I think is very smart. It's doing really well on its own right now. Don't mess up a good thing. Just kind of keep it over there on the side, and maybe we can play with it later. All right, Jason Aaron and Juan Ferreira over on Absolute Superman. We have the Parasite Part 2 issue right here. So Superman and Hawkman are teaming up. The difference between those two characters is really interesting. Hawkman is a more been there and done that kind of an attitude. He challenges everything. He thinks he's the best, and he's got this twisted sense of humor. We've seen his actions in other books right now, like he's an anti-hero to his core. He's got some shady ties, right, to some agencies and other characters in the Absolute universe that we don't really like, right? And then, of course, we had Superman who's coming into his own. He's beginning to feel more like the Superman character than he did about 10 issues ago. So seeing those two at odds is really cool to begin with, but then you throw Parasite into the mix, who's gobbling up all these people and growing at an exponential rate. Something needs to happen really quickly to take this guy out, take Parasite out, and they have conflicting ways of doing so. Now, of course, Hawkman just wants to destroy this beast. He doesn't care about its motivations or why it's doing it, where it came from, or anything like that. Superman, as we know, is more preservative, right? Like he wants to take it, he wants to study it, he wants to help it out. You know what I mean? Like it is a monster, but maybe it's just misunderstood. So Superman does what he does best, trying to save everybody in a very pacifist way, even like to the surprise of Hawkman. But we know that these two are not done with each other. Juan's artwork in this and the composition and the way that he manages battle scenes, it's really something to look at. So I really miss that over in TMNT. I really enjoy it over here in these two issues at least. I want more of that for sure. Next up, we have Poison Ivy issue number 42, G. Willow Wilson on this one. We have Takara on the art. So Pam has found herself in the mayoral seat right now, really challenging the commissioner, Vandal Savage, in all of his ways. So really at odds right now. Again, if he steps out of line, she's going to attack, but if she steps out of line, he will attack as well. So there's more to build from there. She's brought along some colleagues, she's brought along some questionable people to fill out the cabinet around her, to the surprise of everybody else that's been there for a while. So she's trying to, put people in the right spots to make the kind of change that she wants to see throughout the city. Now, we do get to see the public reaction to all of this. We do get to see how tedious and boring that kind of position could be. She has budgetary meetings over here, and she's got council meetings over here. She's trying to orient herself to her new surroundings. We do get some surprise appearances from some other avatars of the world, and so we do get to see what they're up to right now, what their motivations are, what they want from Pam now that she's in this new power, or maybe she's been dodging them this whole time and they need to connect again. But either way, she's in a position of power at the moment, so how is she going to handle that? Is it going to go to her head? Does she surround herself with the right people? Is she going to abuse that power? How is she going to turn things around? I don't know yet, but I'm anxious to see more of this. I really like this series a lot. Make sure you're reading it. All right, next up we have Patrick Horvath on Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring, issue number 6, the conclusion of this second volume right here. The ending was a mixed bag for me personally. In the previous issue, Sam's secrets are out. People know who she is, what she's capable of, what has she done in the past, and so now she's basically arming and detonating bombs planted all across the city to burn it all down so she can go on the run. Then throughout the issue, we see the response to all of this. We go to like the hospitals and see how they're dealing with this crisis. We go to the assisted living and we get to connect with some characters that we've seen throughout the entire series. And again, the idea is while everyone's battling all these different crises all over the place, Sam could make her get away. And that's exactly what we see in the issue. I don't think it was as clean as Sam was hoping. I think she was hoping for complete destruction of the entire place with no witnesses at all. We're going to see what that amounts to later. We get some really interesting dialogue from her in that little notation format that she has, that journal entry format, towards the end of the video as she's kind of put some distance between her and the city. And I gotta say, it's alluding to a third volume. I really want to see what's going on between that and where we are right now, technically in the present day. There's gotta be a third volume in the work. All right, next up we have the Francavillas teaming up to do Twilight Zone issue number 5 from IDW Dark. Now, I've been pretty cynical about the Twilight Zone books so far. It's just not formatted in the way that I want them to be. They're cool one-off horror stories or existential stories, but they've been getting worse and worse, or just not as good as I would like them to be from issue to issue. And I gotta say, I'm disappointed again in the Twilight Zone. We have some great creators on this one, but the story itself just didn't give me enough, I don't think. We have a mysterious comet or something, or meteorite hitting the ocean. We send down these scientists to go investigate it. It has to do with audio and frequency and the manipulation of that to get animals or beings to do whatever they can do or do whatever they want them to do. So it turns into like a possession type of a thing. This thing is able to possess certain people, able to take others out, and it can like go onto the land and propagate throughout that way. So, you know, it's a story that we've seen before in other issues. It's nothing super original. The artwork is pretty cool. I like that, but you know, I want more going into it. I want more coming out of it. There's just not a whole lot there to grasp onto. They're cool one and done stories, but that's not really my jam. All right, next up is Do Not Disturb issue number 2 from Invader Comics. This one's a really great continuation from issue number 1. It picks right back up. We do have this missing person murder mystery thing going on right now. We have a detective who's learning about his surroundings right now and like the possibilities of the hotel that he's in at the moment. It's got its own secrets and backstory, and it's got its own ownership, histories and things like that. A lot of interesting characters scattered around that he's trying to learn more about just to get oriented with. You know, on top of that, he's trying to solve this missing person / murder mystery at the same time. So he has to deal with all these weird eccentric characters and have to deal with the problem at hand. There is a funny straightforwardness with our protagonist, man. He's just going to do whatever he can do to get the job done, to get the answers that he wants, no matter what kind of situation he puts himself in or the characters that are around him. So again, the story is a great blend of a lot of cool things, right? Aesthetically, it's a beautiful book too. The architecture, the character designs, like the action scenes, even the scenes where you're just kind of having some quiet moments, transitioning from room to room. I think they're doing a great job with this one. All right, next up is Speed Racer issue number 6, Papose and Tinto on this one. We have some bad blood stirring back up inside the world of Speed Racer. We have this guy that has a personal grudge against the Speed Racer family, and he is going right for the throat throughout this issue. Now, Pops and this guy's father have teamed up in the past. They were developing some new technology, some new engine mechanics that were very dangerous and ended up ultimately killing this guy's father. He's been on a revenge mission ever since because he felt betrayed from that. Now, this guy is a brute. He is a mechanic. He's a very smart guy. He's a ruthless driver. He is out for blood in this issue, and that's exactly what he gets at the end. And this issue follows the same pattern that David Papose has with a lot of other books. It's really exciting. You get some new threats thrown in. You're not sitting around. You're not stalling for a while. You're not building up to the next thing. It's just in your face nonstop, and it is a great time. All right, next up is Jeremy Robinson and Martello over on Nectar issue number 1 from Vol Comics, the next book that you can sell for $40 before it comes out. What a crazy time we're in right now. I think one thing that we're seeing right now, especially from DC compared to everybody else, is not everyone is writing comics to satisfy that single issue hit that we need. I think Nectar is one of those examples of a trade paperback that was kind of chopped in the mid 20 page area, wherever it was convenient. At least it feels like that from a pacing point of view. And I say that because we don't get a ton of world building or character development. I know it's in issue number 1. We're supposed to get oriented to what's going on, but we see a lot of the same things happening over and over again. and there's no real ultimate hook or big cliffhanger moment towards the end of the issue that makes you have to buy issue number 2. Now, with that said, we have a lot of great imagery throughout the entire story. We have a mystery of like what these butterflies are doing, right? Like, how are they infecting people? Like, what does it all mean? Where do they come from? That kind of stuff. But the characters around us right now, we don't really know a ton about them. Obviously, it's going to expand over time. But I feel like for a first issue, we needed a little bit more variety in what happens throughout the issue instead of just kind of retreading the same thing 2 or 3 times. But man, the aesthetics of this book are outstanding. The covers are really great. I think it's going to make a great trade read, but I hate to make that decision without reading issue number 2 yet. Next up is Sacrificers, issue number 19. Man, this book is amazing every single time it comes out. I love every single issue. This one is no different. This is the rebellion coming right to the doors of the gods right now. They don't quite understand the full story or the sacrifices that, Pigeon and Saluna had to make over the years to keep everything in balance, like protect their children from this burden that they have. They're trying their best to incorporate technology into this world to substitute giving them the moon and giving them the sun every single day because it's draining to do so. So there's a lot of cool things happening in the story, and it all comes to a head here. And Saluna, she's really on her deathbed right now, and Pigeon's doing everything he can possibly do to advance his technology to replace her one day. But damn, the powers that be are coming knocking at the door right now with pitchforks and torches, burning everything to the ground. Again, it's a really cool story about overcoming the power, overcoming the man, taking the man's spot, realizing how difficult it is to like maintain that structure around them, and then having to deal with a rebellion against you in the process. We have Andre taking care of the interiors in this one, doing a great job of just putting us in the mindset of this mob mentality and introducing us to this battle right here. We have a couple more issues to go in this overall series. I would love a extra size, like hardcover collected edition of the entire thing. I think that would be a must read. We have a second spec book of the week, Narco issue number 1, Image Comics. We have Doug Wagner and we have Hilliard on this one as well. Now, this creative team has been around for a long time. They've put out a lot of different series in the past through Image Comics, so they're used to teaming up together with Dave Stewart in particular doing the coloring. So this creative team is nothing new to the industry, especially over in Image Comics and especially with number 1s. So maybe that's more evidence to how crazy the speculator market is right now. Like, this team puts out a new book every year, it seems. This one is pretty cool though. We basically follow this guy who's pretty much a loner in his own right. He's very confident on his own and what he's able to do. He's paying attention to all these different blogs and everything. He's following these serial killers. He's explaining their motivations and how unique some of them are in the beginning of this book. He has an arrhythmia problem right now where if his heart rate gets over 200 beats per minute, he'll pass out basically. And so it's anxiety driven, it's whatever, right? So he has to control all of that. He's got a core group of friends right now who like to tease each other. They hang out all the time. He's got this woman that he's in love with. He's trying to make some moves with her, but he's shy and awkward. She kind of initiates some stuff. And so it's basically a book about him, his motivations, his anxiety problems, and what happens if he gets too excited. What was really weird was you forgot about all the serial killer information you learned in the beginning because you get lost in the next part of the story. It becomes very relevant towards the end of the book, so I thought that was a cool callback to the beginning. And so now he's going to have to play hero coming up in the next subsequent issues, which I think will be a cool thing to do. So not only does he have to overcome his anxiety and his arrhythmias, now he has to go save the woman that he finally got his in with, and we get to see exactly how he's going to be doing that, maybe with his friends and everything in subsequent issues. So both the spec books of this week were interesting in premise. I think they need to do a little bit more building them out. We only have one issue, so it's hard to say where it's going to go ultimately. I'll give each of them a few more issues and see where they go. But all right, guys, that's what I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you want to get caught up on the conversation every week, go down below. I'll have links to some of these books down there. It's a great way to help support the channel. Then while you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.